The industrial machines, even the newer ones, do not have a release mechanism where you can release the function of the sewing machine in order to do a bobbin. It's probably to keep costs down because it's an unnecessary extra feature that's really useful for home user machines, but not necessarily needed for an industrial machine that you can wind the bobbin while you're sewing. I wish I had dawned on me that this was possible. Maybe someone has told me this in the last 30 years and it just didn't stick until a week ago. I would have saved me so much time, because when you're trying to wind a bobbin here and you lock that in and you wind the bobbin, you have to run the machine the whole time, and your thread just gets all messed up, and you basically you want to pull your thread out anyway while you're doing that. But if we instead put our bobbin on and do it while we're sewing, we will be much happier. This is a partially threaded bobbin. I'm just going to fill it up. If you're having to watch your bobbin while it's winding to make sure it's winding properly, you got some machine adjustments that need to get fixed, or you're not threading your bobbin winding mechanism correctly. All right, we'll wind this up. Thread our machine. The person who pinned this put the pins in the worst possible way for sewing. It does not have a reverse, so in order to do a lock stitch, I gotta go back and bam. You can see it's already started winding. Got a brand new full bobbin in here. We're gonna see how far along. I think it's about 1/4 to 1/3 of the bobbin usage before that's full. Sounds like it needs a little bit of oil, this machine. More than halfway full. All right, we didn't quite get full. We're almost there. That was an 8-foot 6-inch stitch and about 8 feet of sewing, maybe 9 feet. This thing will be full and then it's ready to go. I probably have 3, 4, 5 times that much in sewing length. The person who commented, oh, you need to stop and give your needle some time to cool down. So that's why you have to wind the bobbin and you stop sewing for a second while you wind the bobbin. Have you never used an industrial machine? These things are workhorses. They're designed to work constantly and continuously. And as you saw, even as I was sewing, I was not going 8 feet of continuous sewing. I was sewing, stopping, moving my pin, sewing, stopping, moving my pin. There's going to be a lot of pauses and starts and stops, and there's going to be cycle duty on, cycle duty off. It's not running constantly while you're winding your bobbin. It's the same sort of stop and start that you're doing through your normal sewing. A lot of stage curtains these days are being made with nylon webbing at the top instead of jute webbing. I still have stocks and stocks of jute webbing from someone who purchased it before me, so I'm going to keep using that up. The jute webbing does work a little bit better in our Astrip grommet machine. The nylon webbing does seem to jam up the machine a lot more frequently. Go. That was about 9 feet, 10 feet. 10 feet of sewing and our bobbin is released. Even when I'm sewing a long stitch, I've got to adjust the fabric. I'm not just sewing constantly. Maybe if I had a better setup, I could run more constantly, but I've got a little small makeshift setup here. I got one full bobbin ready to go. I did about, let's just say that's 54 inches times 2, which is a little under 5 feet, so we're probably about 9 feet there as well. So we're going to say 9 feet times 4, 36 feet of sewing, and we have only used maybe almost half of our bobbin. So that's pretty good. So I can get about 100 feet of sewing on a bobbin with this machine. I think that's pretty awesome.